Okay, awesome. Hopefully everyone can see my screen.
Looks
Test
good.
my video here and see how this works. Let's see.
Turn
Um,
yourself off and
all right.
good to go.
Um, so like a lot of you, I can imagine I'm broadcasting from home today, so excuse some of the background here. But yeah, so I'm excited to be here. I'm going to be presenting today on website conversion. Um, and uh, Before I jump into that and what we can do to kind of take advantage of when we're talking about conversion, it's really about making more from the traffic you already have today. Like, of course, we want to grow our traffic. Of course, we want to grow our businesses. Of course, we want more people to find us and discover us. But when people are coming to your website, what are you doing to convert the traffic you have today? And I think, in times of uncertainty, as many of us are dealing with today, this is more important than ever. And so I'd like to talk through some of those examples and some of the lessons we've seen. I'm Ryan. I'm the director of marketing here at Privy. I focus on our demand gen efforts here. So, like many of you, I'm focused on how do we bring in new customers, how do we grow our traffic, and all of that. How do we bring people back, spend more with us, do more with us, and so. Um, if you don't know Privy, Privy is a leader in e-commerce marketing. We're really focused on small and growing e-commerce brands. Today, over 500,000 businesses use Privy, and we last year our merchants drove about $2.5 billion alone just through our platform. And I don't say this just to sell the value of Privy. I'll be talking a lot more that isn't solely related to Privy, but I think this is the main thing of what we do is we help people convert their website traffic. And so if you don't believe there's an opportunity here for you, I think when you look at our merchants, you can definitely see that there's value there, whether you're using Privy or another tool. Just quickly, Privy, well, today we're going to be focusing on our website, conversion and what you can do there. But as a platform, we also offer tools for email marketing, text marketing, so that you're not just, growing your list and converting more people from your site, but that you can bring them back through these different channels that we know are so important. And so what am I going to cover today? So we're going to talk about conversion, but this is kind of spoiling my own story here. But we believe that one of the main conversion points that we see a lot of e-commerce merchants ignore is this whole idea of growing an email list or getting people to opt in when they're on your site. Not just to buy, but to actually grow your email list. So we're going to talk a little bit more about why that's important and how that will help from a conversion standpoint. How to actually go about doing it. So we will actually talk to you about the plays. I'll go through some of the plays that you can run to be successful here. And then we'll actually show some real examples of what you can do and what we've seen other e-commerce merchants do across a wide variety of the different segments that use our tools. If anything, what you should do is, if you walk away from today, you should know that why doing this is important and how to do it, and really where to get started, right? So if you walk away with one thing, if there's one play you can go put into action, I hope you'll be able to do that from today's session. So when we talk about conversion, so much of the effort when you look at your paid ads and you look at the reports that you get from these different platforms, it's really about that direct purchase, right? And while that's obviously super important, when you look at these numbers as an aggregate, we see that most e-commerce brands see about 2% conversion rates on their site. So 98% of the people that they spend a lot of budget and a lot of time trying to drive to their site, 98% of those people will never convert on that first visit. And so this is really why what we encourage merchants to do. And when we talk about those 500,000 merchants in the previous slides, this is a big use case for our platform, and it's where we've seen our merchants be really successful. And you can look at the world today with all the different marketing channels that are out there, and you may say, really, email? That's the big answer here. But time and time again, when you look at any of the market research that's out there, particularly for direct-to-consumer or e-commerce businesses, it's email that continues to drive the highest return for e-commerce brands. And so when you're thinking about how do you convert more of your site traffic, while you'll continue to work on your store, whether you're on Shopify or all these things, we believe that the number one thing you can do is convert more of these people into your email list so that you can market to them, so that you can bring them back and you can get that first purchase, the second purchase, and really keep them as a customer. And why this is so important, we see this all the time, and I think now more than ever, which is, yes, you'll always be investing in these other channels, things like social or on your website, but email is really the only channel. Email and your own personal store are the only places that you really own, right? So if you're not taking the time to grow your list, building an audience and investing there, you may be getting the sales that you like, but you're missing the opportunity to bring people back and convert more of those people. And so this is really why this is so important. And for a lot of you on the line, this may be straightforward. You may already be ahead of the curve, but time and time again, we see that a lot of businesses aren't spending enough time here. And so I think it's important to call that out. And to really put a fine point on this, when we looked at data from our customers last year, we saw that on average, close to $16 per email address captured was the average revenue for our customers, right? And so for every email that they collect, on average, they're driving close to $16 per new email contact. Now, that may not sound like huge numbers to all of you, but when you consider the fact that you can grow that email list to hundreds or thousands of people, this can become one of the highest ROI channels, and it's no secret why this is so important for e-commerce brands. So how do you go about doing this, right? So one of the things we see, if you were, when we talk to merchants or we, you go into, whether you're using Shopify or BigCommerce, you go into their forums, what you see all the time is we're getting plenty of traffic, we're not getting enough sales, right? This is where having targeted campaigns really come into play. So the good news here is a lot of what I'm going to go over next isn't, you don't need to know how to code. You don't need to be doing HTML or paying an agency if you're working with them to do a lot of this stuff. There are plenty of tools out here that'll help you run these sort of plays I'm going to go through that can actually help you convert more people from your site, grow your list, and have opportunities to drive more sales. Now, the examples I'm going to give are from Privy. My intention here isn't to sell you on Privy. If you want to use Privy, great. Check us out. We have a free plan. That's great. But the idea is that there's plenty of tools out there on the market that can help you do this. And so we're going to go through some of the examples you can do and give you an idea of some of the plays that we believe that all e-commerce stores should be running now more than ever. So when we look at the different campaigns we see people run, just to quickly level set, we see that on average, if you're just putting a email subscription on your website, right? A lot of folks we know have a box, so somewhere where you can opt in. Maybe you're doing a pop-up of some kind, but if it's just a straight sign up to get updates, we typically see around a 1% conversion rate for those. For folks who take that the next step further, who offer some kind of coupon or offer with a pop-up or an announcement or banner on their site, we see the average conversion rate on those is around 5%. And then for folks who want to get a little bit more creative, and we'll show some examples of this whole idea of you may see on some sites a spin to win, where people can actually interact and there's a little bit more gamification there. We see those are about a 10% conversion rate. Now, it doesn't mean you should do all three of these all the time. It doesn't mean that every site needs a spin to win, but it shows you that running these different plays can help engage customers at different points that they're visiting your site. And so hopefully that gives you an idea of the why behind it. Now let's really get into the tactics of some of the different plays that we believe people should be running. So the first one we're going to look at is the welcome discount. The idea here is that you can build a massive list of future customers by asking anyone who's brand new to your site to opt in exchange for some discount. Now, this is a pretty boilerplate play. It's super easy to do. If you weren't using a third-party tool, you could probably figure out how to do it through your own website or store. But any of the apps that you'll find in the Shopify App Store would allow you to do something like this. And so the recipe here, and again, we're showing Privy, but you can do this with other products. is simple, a 10% coupon. If you're using a tool like a BigCommerce or Shopify, you can integrate right with their own offers and discount systems so that you can track these. And all they need to do to get in is to enter an email address. Super easy to do. You can time it on first visit. You can time it on exit intent when they try to leave. Easy offer you can do, and customizing and branding it, making it look great on your site is a great way to do that. Another example here, right? So not just from small e-com stores, but places like HBO Shop. They have their own online store that they use a tool like Privy to do this. Simple, a few fields, collecting information that's important to them, right? So they don't just want to know name and email, but maybe they want birthday. You can do that with a play like this. And this is one of our favorites here. It's a 15% off discount for a company that sells, making foundation, those sorts of things. They found this was a great way for new visitors on their site because it's such a competitive market that they're in. This is really key to bring people back. And they're competing against, as everyone would know, in the beauty space, big brands. And so this is a good way for them to differentiate themselves. So that's some examples of a welcome. Pretty easy, straightforward. The next example I'll give is a cart saver. Now this one is where it gets a little bit more work to set up, but is really key and can help differentiate your online store and help convert. And this one isn't just about growing your email list, although it's important, but it can help you actually save sales as well. So the recipe here is that you use whatever pop-up tool you're doing, but instead of doing a timed pop-up or number of page visited, you can actually trigger this based off of when they're leaving your site. This works great on desktop, obviously, that when someone's going to click away or go to a different tab, you can do this. In this case, because what you're targeting is when they have items in their cart, it's sometimes good to offer a little bit of an additional incentive. So in this example, it's a 15% where they then can reveal their code by entering. This one gets a little bit more creative. The succulent source, they did, this is kind of on their brand. They're not really getting people to opt in. What they're doing is to say, if you continue buy right now, here's a code, so don't leave, finish the purchase. And then this is a great one from one of our customers, Lisa Mattress, who, again, very straightforward. They don't actually tell the percent off or discount here, but what they do is they let people know with a really beautiful branded campaign, they should opt in before they go. Here's an example of one that we find really compelling for a lot of e-commerce, especially if you're in, in a position where you have a good offer, you could send someone on a birthday. It's not even leading with the discount. It's just giving a way for people to opt in and giving them a reason to want to engage with you. And so here, it's not just the incentive of a 10% off or 15% off. And you're not showing it only to new visitors, but you're actually doing enough people who have come to your site, left, and then come back. And in this instance, you can do this with just a pop-up, which is really great. Or if you've already collected their email address, you can then send an email to them after the fact, right? So someone were to come in, they're a repeat visitor, they enter their email address, they tell you their birthday, they're going to get an automated email which would say, thank you for entering, here's your discount code. And then when their birthday does come in your system, you can, in the marketing platform of your choice, you can now have this whole database of people where you know their birthdays, you can follow up with them, and it's really a powerful way to do that. So if you've ever wondered or how you would go and run a birthday campaign with your list, this is a great way to do that. We love this one. Another one, again, this also shows the importance of really branding things. This is something one of our real customers are doing. It fits really nicely on their site. It sells the value of why you should opt in really quickly, and it's letting people know that when they do opt in, not only are we going to save on their first order, but we're going to be able to continue to add value throughout the time that they're a customer. So those were some of the ways that you could do that, and that's without any consideration for what you would do to drive people there. The examples we talked about there are really about how do you bring people who are coming in organically to find you. You could certainly use those for paid traffic, or if you're paying Facebook ads or Instagram ads or anything like that. But here, let's dive in a little bit into the type of campaign you may want to do for folks who are coming to you through a paid channel. And so this is where we see the spin to win play be effective. If you've never seen a spin to win on anyone's site or used one yourself, these campaigns, you want to make sure it fits well with your brand. Certain types of companies, depending on what you're selling, it may seem a little out of place, so just be aware of that. But the idea here is that you're targeting on a particular URL on your site. You're targeting off of a specific UTM that you use in the campaign when you are running the ad. And when someone comes in, you're only targeting those users who you're paying and investing your budget to bring to your site with this campaign. And here, because it is such a targeted campaign, you have the ability to be a little bit more flexible with what you might offer. You may not want to go as high as 15 or 20% on just net new visitors, but because you have a targeted list of people you're bringing in, this could be a great idea of something you might want to do. And just a few more examples of our customers doing this. You can get super creative. You can really show off your brand here. And it's a great way to engage people that you're driving with high intent to your site. And so just to recap, we went through 4 of the key plays that we believe are super effective for improving conversion on your site. You have the welcome discount, which is targeting any new visitors. And that's something that we believe every e-commerce store can have. We see it not just as an effective tool for growing your email list, but for actually turning your website traffic into new sales. You have the spin to win, which we just went through, right? Which is around that same sort of audience that you're driving to your store so that you can engage them, sell them more. It's a great opportunity to do that. You have, let's just make sure we're going through so I don't miss any here. The birthday gift, right? Really creative way to do that. Who people are coming to your site. This is about targeting repeat visitors with an offer that's going to really engage them. And of course, the cart saver, which we talked about how you could do it from a conversion standpoint on your site. We know that so many of the carts that people have, just because they put products in, as you've seen, doesn't mean they're going to buy. That's really key to convert more of those people and bring them back. So whether you're using Privy, whether you're using another product, I hope you can at least take one of these, look at your website today, think about where on your site you're losing conversion, whether it's your homepage, a specific product page, or somewhere that you're driving traffic, and look to implement at least one of these plays for your business. Before I wrap up, I appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to this session. I did want to just do a quick plug for something we announced today. It's not a sales pitch. It's not a product we're selling. It's an initiative that we're doing with so many businesses that are obviously in some uncertain times right now. We're launching a new marketplace for small and growing e-commerce brands. If you're interested in being featured, you can go to this website, Shop Small Ecom. All we're doing is listing your business there, and we're going to promote this out as a place where customers can go and find e-commerce brands. We think this is super important during this time. Privy is a big believer in helping e-commerce brands be successful. So I figured I'd give a quick plug if anyone's looking for a new way to kind of get their brand out there. Again, it's not a sales pitch. There's no money involved. It's just you entering, and we'll feature you on there. If you're interested, there's a link. And I think that wraps up for me.
I love it. This is amazing. I've shared it here in chat, and I've put it at the top of our show notes so that people can find this. It's weird that Shopify doesn't actually do this themselves, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think, I think what we're going to have out there is probably just the kind of a built out website so people can navigate and go through and search. But yeah, we know there's a lot of people who want our Shopee online right now. We know there's a big appetite for people to want to shop at either small, medium, or just, non-enterprise companies. And so,
Non-Amazon.
yeah, right. So that's what we're trying to do for folks.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think this can help keep a lot of stores in business during the time where maybe their retail, headquarters is shut down, or maybe they're struggling with supply chain issues as well right now. So thank you so much for launching that, and thank you so much for the presentation. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Everybody, if you haven't checked out Privy, let's go ahead and put Privy here in the chat as well. In fact, if you want to see like Privy in a nutshell, I did a recap video of it myself, and this was, they've actually added so many new features since then, but there's still quite a lot that you can gain. By the way, quick plug for myself, I do these 5-minute recap videos of tools like Privy and many other tools in the space so that you don't have to sit through an entire sales demo. So you can check out that link for Privy if you want. There's other tools on there. We're trying to do 2 a week, but it's a big challenge. Ryan, thanks so much. I will see you likely at the next virtual event.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, everyone. And hope everyone was able to walk away with something helpful for their business. So thanks a lot.